You are now tuned in to the From Earth podcast with your host, Julius from Earth. Check us out on any of the major digital streaming platforms or on our website at FromEarthPodcast.buzzsprout.com. And as always, thank you for tapping in. Here we go, fellas. What's really good?
What's happening?
SL, what's really good? Are you back? Are you back in the building?
Are y'all back?
Are you finally here?
Are y'all back?
We ain't leave, bro.
Yeah, we been here.
We been here.
You seen what we was doing?
Yeah.
We got video evidence of what we was doing.
I saw what y'all was doing.
What was you doing?
I was in
Yeah, exactly.
buying bath seats. That's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah. You out here shopping and everything.
Okay,
Like, come
Christmas
on, man.
holiday,
We got things to get to. We got things to do, fam.
I was like, what podcast was that I was
You
watching
can't-
last week?
You can't be not showing up, and then get mad when we have a ringer come through.
Facts, yeah.
And shut the building down.
Yeah.
I was like, this is ladies first all over again?
You
Three
feel me?
ladies up
Like
with
you was the one who was like, yo, call somebody else. Hurry up, call somebody else. I call somebody else.
Right.
And here this guy go talking about some. Yo, I had so many problems. It was a good episode. I had so many problems with the episode.
Mad salty.
You know what I mean? But we here now.
I
You
didn't
back.
know that all three opinions would be the same. That's how I expected. More.
Lies,
That's
cat. That's all cat,
All
bro.
cat,
I think you're just a little butthurt. You're a little jealous that we had an episode that came through that really shut it down.
Oh, I love the episode.
You know what I mean?
Meg, you did great. You did great. You lived up to everything we needed for this pod, so thank you. and I
But
look
you had
forward to
a problem with me. We'll get into it.
That
though.
wasn't a problem with you.
We'll get into it though.
Yeah.
Let me intro the pod. Episode 58 of the From Earth podcast. I'm your host, Julius from Earth, and I'm here with the homie Esoteric
The villain.
and the homie B Davis.
What's happening?
And now we got the YouTube crowd, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Continue looking forward to more stuff that we got coming out. But let's go ahead and get into it. Before we talk about SO's issue with what we were doing last week on the podcast, you know what I mean? We got some...
Big mad. Big mad.
We have some society and cultural things to get to.
Yeah.
First things first, the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict came out. He was found not guilty of whatever the charges were, the murders, the homicides, whatever they were. Walk free, and now he's getting the grand tour.
Yeah.
You know, the one-on-one interviews with the Fox host and the meeting of the former president and everything. And he's doing pretty much exactly what you would expect him to do.
Right. Victory lap.
The victory lap.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He's doing the victory lap. And I know for me personally, it was one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to get too high or too low on this, right? Mm-hmm. We've talked about this off mic. We've talked about kind of like who needs to do what in this situation. Mm-hmm. And it's not us. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, you know, there's people that I know who were celebrating the decision. It's a difference of opinion. So you and I had that conversation a little bit earlier today. I'm not here to discuss other people's opinions. I'm just here talking about what is prevalent in society today, American society today,
right?
Which was the Kyle Rittenhouse decision.
Yeah.
And then just today we had the Ahmaud Arbery verdict that came out. Well, he wasn't the one on trial. The killers of Ahmaud Arbery were on trial, and the verdict came out today. And all three of them found guilty of multiple charges, including homicide,
felony
murder.
Yep.
A lot of the things that you would expect after having seen the video of him being gunned down.
Yeah.
In the street.
Yeah.
Right. So we got that. I don't know if you guys have any take on any of that stuff. If there's anything in particular that you want to touch upon. We've talked about Ahmaud Arbery in the past. Mm-hmm. We've talked about Kyle Rittenhouse in the past. Mm-hmm. We know that these were these incidents happened in separate states and separate cities, and you see, I don't know if you can't really call it a consistency. You can call it an inconsistency in the justice system, at the very least, in my personal opinion.
Right.
What do you think, babe?
I'm gonna let Esso go first since he wasn't here last week. I want him to feel included. You know what I'm saying?
Roll tape.
Yeah, I want him to feel included and whatnot. I don't want him to feel like an outcast. So go ahead, take it, man.
You sure? Because I was gonna let the ladies go first.
Wow. See?
You sure?
He's bitter. He's bitter,
coming at my
man.
neck already.
Okay,
Yo,
you know what?
he's
Coming at
bitter.
my- Okay.
Appreciate you.
Let's go.
I'm gonna
Let's
put that in
go.
the pocket. I'm gonna hold that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, again, like you said, we talk about this all the time. You know, the justice system's always been skewed. It's a little bit different based on the people who were killed in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, but still lives were taken nonetheless. I'm actually more concerned with how this portrays to the sentencing of youth in the country based on how and what was used as a murder weapon. Because this is basically saying a minor at the time the incident happened is capable of doing what Kyle Rittenhouse did, and there's no accountability to that. You know, meanwhile we have more in the minority communities. I mean, everybody says, you know, if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, you know, he wouldn't stand a chance. We all can sit here and agree that if Kyle Rittenhouse were black, he'd be shot in the streets. You know what I mean? For the same exact situation that was put in front of us.
Right.
You know, so it's not really so much a justice system broke as it is to the point to even get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many black individuals do we see that can make court based on this same exact situation?
Well, I know that I talked about it. I talked about it a little bit before, that everything kind of leading up to the decision on the Kyle Rittenhouse case was just looking very odd.
Yeah.
You know, from the terminology that the judge was saying could and could not be used. We talked about that before.
Right.
To him being able to handpick which jurors were going to meet and deliberate to come back with the verdict.
Right.
Listen, I'm not going to say I'm super well versed, but I don't recall hearing this happening all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, just kind of how he was being handled by a public official in a manner where it just appeared that he was getting preferential treatment.
Right.
That's not me making a decision on, you know, that court or whatever. I mean, I have an opinion.
What's your opinion, bro?
My opinion is that he was handed an innocent verdict because of some shady business.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Right.
You know, you call it what you want to call it. I'll say systematic racism, racism, blatant racism. Like, you just call it what it is. He was gifted a get out of jail free card.
Right.
That's my decision. That's my opinion on that. And that was just a couple of days ago.
Right.
That was just a couple of days ago.
I was about to say, wasn't that like Friday?
Yeah, that wasn't very long ago.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
You know, and now it was like when they were doing the Ahmaud Arbery case, it was hard to watch. Like I was kind of like had it on in the background.
Right.
I didn't want to watch. I was feeling that knot in my stomach. Like, I don't know how people are going to react with whatever comes down on his case. Right. Or the case involving his murder. But we just saw that, like I just said, we saw that today, that all three people that were that partook in that incident were found guilty. So now, you know, the next process is sentencing. However long out that has been set, we'll see what comes with that.
I thought they said it was life with a chance to parole.
Well, today was just, like I said, today was just the guilty verdict. They're going to have to be sentenced at some point. That's probably what they were facing. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath. Yeah. I'm not going to hold my breath. But you know what? I don't want to stay. I don't want to stay too far on this because we've talked about this. I just wanted to bring, since it was just current events. Right. I just wanted to talk about it. We missed the opportunity a few weeks ago to talk about the football player Henry Ruggs. No, we talked about Henry Ruggs.
We talked about Ruggs.
We talked about Henry Ruggs. We wanted to did we want to come back and revisit another football player?
Can I just give my quick thoughts on Kyle And
Bro, you know what?
Ahmaud Arbery.
You're right, because I'm over here just like...
Can I just give a
Yeah,
couple?
yeah,
quick
let's go. Get it.
So I feel like the Rittenhouse trial, right? I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. I think that verdict is only going to serve to propagate the scourge of white on white crime, and that is something that the white community is going to have to deal with. That's how I feel about that.
I mean, I don't know what propagate or scourge means, so I'm listening, but
That's all I saw with that. Like, I looked at that verdict and I was like, so what y'all gonna do? You know what I'm saying? For all of the people that were as upset as they claimed to be, what are they gonna do? I didn't see nobody out protesting the verdict. I didn't see nobody out airing their grievances of the verdict. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In contrast to that, obviously we had Ahmaud Arbery today, and everybody was found guilty, right? So all of the people that were as upset as they were allegedly about the Rittenhouse verdict should have been overjoyed by the Arbery verdict today, right? Of the trial against Travis McMichael and his father and the dude Roddy or whatever the third dude's name is. You know what I'm saying? Those people should have been overjoyed by what occurred today, and yet I felt like in comparison, it was crickets. You know what I'm saying? I saw the verdict by accident. Just happened to open up the Ahmaud Arbery trending topic on Twitter, and saw that they were all found guilty, and I was like, yo, like, when Rittenhouse happened a few days ago, not guilty was everywhere. Like, it was trending all over the place. Specifically, not guilty was trending all over the place, right? And yet, guilty wasn't trending at all. And so I'm like, where's the energy that people alleged that they had last week when they're like, oh, it's a miscarriage of justice. How can this happen? Kangaroo courts. You know what I'm saying? The court system is farcical. Where was that energy today when this ruling came out? Suddenly nobody wants to talk. You know, and even last week, you know, walking through my office, right? Even the few people that I have in the office, you know, you heard people talking about the case. You heard people talking about the verdict, the Rittenhouse trial last week. Today, I ain't hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, what's really good, right? And I turned on MSNBC for about like 5 minutes today, long enough to see them circle jerking themselves. And I was like, I ain't got time for this. I know they're going to want to frame this as victory. They're going to want to frame this as justice. And listen, for the people who feel that way, who feel vindicated by this, who feel like, you know, good for them, they finally got it right. Like, I'm not there. I heard the verdict and I felt tired. I felt exhausted when I heard the verdict, right? And I watched the clip of them reading the verdicts out to Travis McMichael first and him being guilty on all charges, right? And it was almost like when they said the first guilty, he didn't really get it yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking in his eyes, right? I'm looking in his eyes on the camera. I'm like, he ain't really guilty. By the time they got to the fifth one, though, you saw that light start to dim. And I was like, yeah, that's what you need to feel right there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I feel when I'm looking at all, like, you got to think about, and I'm sorry, I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I'm trying to wrap this, right?
Get into it.
Like,
get into it.
I look at some of these cases, the Arbery case, the George Floyd case, the Eric Garner case, right? And you look at the amount of time that the perpetrator spent committing the various acts of crime, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you think about at any given, like, this wasn't a situation like Tamir Rice, right? Where the cop rolls up and he's firing shots in like 3 seconds. You know, so everyone can go, oh, well, you know, he ran into a situation, he was thrust into action, he didn't know. This ain't those situations, man.
Yeah.
These guys took their time. They chased this dude down for 5 minutes. They had 5 minutes to stop and think about what the fuck they was doing.
Yeah.
They had 5 minutes to call a police officer. You know what I'm saying? They have 5 minutes to decide, you know what? Nah, we need to let this dude go, or we're going to follow him until we get a cop here or something. You have 5 minutes to think about it, bro. And all you could come up with in that 5 minutes was, I'm going to hop out the car and start a physical altercation with this kid and then shoot him and then try to claim in court that it was a citizen's arrest. You know what I'm saying? Like, the intention that's there behind these acts, right? Derek Chauvin, 8 minutes on George Floyd's neck.
8+.
8+. You know what I'm saying? The cop that was choking Eric Garner over a loose cigarette. You know what I'm saying? The amount of time that they took, the fact that it was deliberate. You know, and the fact that we don't get these types of rulings in these cases unless you're caught on 4K. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's no video, and this, bro, we went through 2 prosecutors on this case that refused to prosecute. You had an entire office that had to recuse themselves. You had the police office that wanted to bury the evidence, right, and pretend this whole thing. It was 74 days after this kid got murdered that charges got pressed. 74 days. You know what I'm saying? The district attorney is up on charges right now for how she originally handled the case and trying to cover it up. I can't find justice in that. You see what I'm saying? Like, the system didn't work. The system tried to do everything but work. And yet we still managed to get here. So it's good that we got the right result. But the fact that this is the bar that's set to get to that result, these are the hoops that have to get jumped through to get to that result, doesn't make me feel any better.
It's the one time where you are actually innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
yeah,
we don't get the same respect.
Reasonable doubt is, do we have it on video? Yeah. And keep in mind, the video was shot by the third defendant, bro. Like, they took their own video of this and then leaked this video themselves. Like, this was their video. This was this dude on his cell phone taking his camera of them killing this kid. Like, so you see what I'm saying? Like, that's how proud they were. That's how deliberate this action was. That they got in their trucks and was like, oh, we hunting niggas today. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we about to do.
Yeah.
And felt justified.
Well,
like, that's crazy.
I will say this. First of all, you know, R.I.P. Ahmaud Arbery, right? But it was a very circuitous route that was taken.
Circuitous.
You see, I got some words in the bag too. Yeah. I got some words in the bag.
Circuitous.
But it was a bit of a release to be able to see it come out the proper way.
Right.
However we got there, and you just did a very good job of highlighting how we got to that point, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the current events that kind of leave a nation and leave people just feeling exhausted, and on the edge of their seat. And this is where we're at with that. Let's switch the topic a little bit, and let's talk about something else that we haven't spoke about in the past 3-4 months at this point.
Okay.
2-3 months, I guess, more.
All right.
And that is the silence surrounding Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson.
Oh, I can't believe we got this in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're going to talk about it because
that was on the notes.
I don't check the notes, bro. I never know what we're talking about, man.
Yeah, we got one take home over here.
I just show up, bro.
We got
That's it. Accidentally.
Accidentally.
I just came by and it was recording and shit. I was like, yo, let me get it.
No, that kind of is the story about how you got here. But no.
That's kind of facts.
That's story for another time. For another time. But now let's get in. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson. Just to recap real quick for anybody who's not familiar, he's a quarterback for the Houston Texans football team, and at last I recall there were like 27 allegations of some type of like sexual exposure, indecency, and now these are things that we were led to believe were pending investigation,
right?
And they're being handled civilly at this point in civil court right now. No criminal charges brought forth as of right now, as of today.
Right.
But I guess the larger part of what I'm trying to say here is because of this, like he had requested a trade from the team. Yeah. And right after he requested the trade was when all these allegations started to run down. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this. I think it was during the summertime or, right before the season was kicking off, and we were like, let's see where it goes. Yeah, because he hasn't been playing. He's inactive. He's not on the field. I don't know if he's getting paid or not or whatever, but he hasn't been playing. And I just wanted to bring it back because it's like it's week 12 or 13 now. Yeah, of the NFL season, and we haven't heard a peep about what's going on in his case. Right. Or with the allegations, because right now there's no case. Right. The NFL was supposed to be looking into it and making a ruling or a decision or whatever, which is kind of cause for other teams to say, like, we're going to hold off until a ruling is made. And listen, I understand that the allegations are serious. I'm not minimizing the allegations, and I'm not minimizing the severity of the alleged actions, right? I guess what I'm saying is, what is taking so long?
Well,
What is taking so long in this case?
Look, the NFL is basically another systemic system. Okay, we can all agree to that because how every case is handled is based on what is at stake. All right, and Deshaun Watson being the prolific quarterback he is, and again, this is all alleged on what his conduct has been off field, but the man wants to trade. He doesn't want to be in that system anymore. So the first thing you could do to an NFL black quarterback is defame them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Slander the name. Because you have nothing else against these types of athletes who are making millions of dollars. And the best thing you do is tarnish the name, put it in the mud where nobody wants you. You know what I'm saying? But again, if this was a Ben Roethlisberger with similar situations,
right.
You're still playing. You're still, 15, 16 years in the league?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe 5 or 6 since the last situation he had. You know what I mean? It's how everything's handled because of who you are in the NFL. And we all know this. It's like everything that happened in 2020 with, the donations or lack thereof, and we're expecting, we talked about Jay-Z trying to make the difference here. And I stated then, it was like Jay-Z's presence is not going to make that difference in a system like this.
Wait, how is Jay-Z catching a stray in this
he's not
conversation?
catching a stray. What I'm saying is the expectations of change.
Okay.
For the system that he's in.
Right.
Or trying to be a part of.
Okay.
And it was almost like we want that change. We want to see something. Maybe he can, I don't know, turn some tide. Mm-hmm. But he's battling an entire conglomerate who's more important on Sunday than Jesus.
Well, I want to let me add this too, because the NFL is one thing, right? Him not being having trade value and kind of the movement of him being put on hold by the NFL is one thing.
Right.
The other thing is the fact that what's happening overall. We have 27 allegations,
right,
of criminal activity.
And that's what's crazy, right? Because not only do you have allegedly police investigating this, right, but you also allegedly have the NFL who said they were going to investigate this. Mm-hmm. And so what is taking so long for them to come up with something? I would have to believe that with 27 credible allegations, you'd be able to at least make one case, right?
Now, operative word there is credible.
Sure, and with no communication or no updates, it makes people wonder if the allegations are credible at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? It makes people wonder, well, was this something that the team manufactured because they didn't want to trade him? You know what I'm saying? Those questions start to pop up, mm-hmm. right? And we live in a time now where it's like we definitely want to hear out people that allege to be victims, mm-hmm. right? We want to hear their stories. We want to give them the ability to get up on the stand and say what they got to say, submit the evidence, and have that be looked at seriously and taken seriously when they do so. But when you're 4 months into an investigation like this, you're telling me you got nothing?
27 allegations, and
you know what I'm saying? Because the last thing that I heard was when the trade deadline was looming in the NFL, was that the team that wanted him was like, yo, we need the legal stuff to get taken care of before we can make this happen. Mm-hmm. And there was allegedly a plea deal on the table to which Deshaun Watson turned down. And he was like, nah, I didn't do this. I want to clear my name. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, why is there so much radio silence? What's going on? The timing looks crazy for people that would be detractors of the situation overall. How long is this supposed to take? They've done investigations and suspended people for way less mm-hmm. in the NFL.
So I've said this in the past that I don't put it or anybody above being able or capable of doing the things that he's alleged of doing. Right. And that I was willing to give the system or whatever however much time that the process needed.
Right.
In order to work this out.
Sure.
Just because these are serious allegations.
Yeah.
The issue comes in, like you said, when you start to factor in his displeasure with playing in a certain city for a certain ownership group, mm-hmm. a certain organization. 27 allegations. I know I don't know how far you want to get into the conversation. We talked about it a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
But if you want to, we can get into it.
Actually, I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate here on this, right?
Okay.
Because as I'm thinking about this, you know, NFL teams are famous for secretly covering up the mishaps of players that they have under their purview as it is, right?
Okay.
To keep them out of trouble with the law. It wouldn't be out of suspect to think that, you know, the Houston Texans and the Houston PD have some form of relationship, right? Obviously, you probably have Houston PD at the arenas and things like that for home games, working security and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be too far to say they have some sort of relationship. What if, and I'm just supposing here, right? Mm-hmm. What if these allegations that are levied against him now publicly are a culmination of things that they privately handled previously for him, right? And in doing so, have already scrubbed the necessary evidence that they would have needed, and now they need to find new evidence to prove these claims.
Well, I would assume there'd be NDAs.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if there was NDAs signed, obviously this would never come to light in any aspect.
Well, if there were NDAs signed, it would have been on between the alleged victims and the team.
Correct.
The team doesn't want to let him go, right? So now, what does the team benefit from having these people stay silent?
Well,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you're going you're going next level on the conspiracy thing here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to I'm just trying to put together in my head, like, what the fuck going on, bro? Because look, we suspended Brady for 4 games for deflated footballs, yo.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like either shit or get off the pot here. Like, he's not on the commissioner's exempt list. You know what I'm saying? So the NFL is basically saying that we haven't found enough evidence to support a claim that this player violated clauses in their contracts to put them on the commissioner's exempt list. 27 is just
you see what I'm saying? 27 is just such a large number,
right,
that you would think that you can scrounge up the requisite evidence, right?
27 is enough people for somebody to be lying. Right, so even if they
thank you for saying it, because that's kind of where I'm going with it. But
and what I mean by that is, even if the shit didn't happen, like 27 people is enough for one person to take that extra step and be like, nah, let me tell my story out loud, because somebody's gonna pay me for it. I don't even know.
Probably around there, if not.
Yeah, the number was large. Like, I don't remember if it was exactly 27. I just know it was a large number, but it was a large enough sample of people that somebody wants to get paid. Right? Yeah. So somebody's going to get up there and tell a story or something. So it's odd to me that we've heard nothing.
So, all right, so, I'm titling this episode Somebody Lying, right? That's what I'm titling it. Somebody Lying. But in keeping with that theme, like, I wanted to kind of come back to some of your issues from the things that you heard myself and B,
talk about it.
Say on last week's pod episode.
Talk about it.
When we had Megan on, right? Who did a great job. Megan did a great job. Shout out to Megan, right?
Yeah, she's fabulous.
But you in the group chat, you let me know that you had some smoke for me. So now
the group chat.
So now,
oh shit,
GC.
I wanna hear you.
Air it all out.
Let's get it on mic. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
because I feel like we can unpack some things here.
Okay.
All right, so let's unpack them.
Yeah. What the fuck your problem is?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Well, I feel like it's almost second wing because we already did this last night.
We did, but we didn't have the mics on.
We did. And we should have hit the mics last night.
Fuck all of that. Maintain that energy.
Bro, the energy was spent last night.
Maintain the energy
under the bridge now.
And talk all that shit you was talking.
I need a different factor now. So when Megan's here is different. But we can talk about it. So listen.
Yeah.
Since you guys really want to get
into it. Bring all the smoke you had, bro.
Let's go. I don't remember where the hell that's
pouring up.
Nah. I'll remind you.
Remind me.
I'll remind you. So
I hope you lost sleep over it.
I did not. So you had mentioned how Megan shared a lot of similar points of opinion that you previously stated in other episodes.
Correct.
Which caused for me to tell you why, or inquire with you, why are you speaking for women, right? You've mentioned that. You've been very opinionated on where you stand on how women view marriage, how women view relationships, how they view dating. You made this on, like, it's on record,
right?
So I'm not making nothing up. But when Megan came in last week, and she said some things such as, women have a tendency to marry for security and money, and I was like, hold on. So are you saying that it's okay for a guy to marry for looks, blah blah blah? And then you came at me saying like, yo, but when I said it, it was a problem, right? I'm reminding you. This is what I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back to the forefront.
Yeah.
Because my response to you then and my response to you yesterday was, you're not a woman. So wow.
Listen, he said he was gender fluid.
He did say he was gender fluid.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if he ever put that on pod, but it's on pod now.
Out the group chat,
you
bro?
did say you
You
did say gender fluid would be a
bro.
dope name. You did say that.
Yeah.
Those are not terminologies words I ever use. Because B uses that shit. But anywho.
But no, so my response to you was always, yo, don't speak for women. Right? Last night you said, but Megan said the exact same thing. So was I wrong? Was I wrong? That was the thing you kept asking me. Right. Was I wrong? Was I wrong? Right? And I maintained my position of, that's why we wanted to have a woman come on and discuss some of these things. It just so happened it was the week that you opted to go buy
lingerie and shit,
Christmas decorations,
assless chaps,
whatever you was doing, bro. You know what I mean? Whatever. But look, now come on, I'm refreshing your memory.
Refresh it all you want.
Yeah, what's up, bro? Bring the smoke. Now you had a lot to say yesterday, bro. Get into it.
That's what I'm saying. The energy was spent yesterday, but if you want to rehash it,
yes, let's rehash.
So, it wasn't, again, it was more or less the take that you had when it was said. All right, like I said, when I said it in the prior episodes, it was more or less you can't speak for everybody, because I did say some things about men as well, and you took the same stance with that, and that's where I was like, okay, so what Mig did last week was validate.
Cool. So what stances did she validate for you that you want to stand on?
Well, no, I'm not saying the stances. I'm saying because Jules and I talked about it after you left last night, and it was just more or less like, dude, I'm not sitting here trying to cape for either side. What I'm saying is there's a certain group of people that qualify for what I say.
Okay. What group is that? What
we stated. Well, there's a certain group of women that will marry for money.
Okay.
There's a certain group of men that will marry for looks.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not saying all men, because if all men had the power that those men can do what they do, then yeah, it'd be an absolute. But we don't have that. Okay, 3 common men, you, me, a man over there, all right, are not in the same group of the people we're talking about, for the most part. Okay, we're not trying to be part of that kind of a group. All right, but like I said, it was a general statement about the people when we're talking about men who are in power, who can pick and choose who they want.
Right.
I've given 2 examples last night. Bill Gates from one, you know what I'm saying? Jeff Bezos the other, who are men who have chosen who they want and when they want it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's millions of other people like that. Well, not millions, but just I'm sure a lot more than that. But either way, when it comes to the women, again,
Are we? I mean, I feel like that's giving them too much credit, though, bro. Like, at the end of the day, they just dudes who cheated.
It's not giving them credit because
like,
these
that's
dudes
it.
who cheated.
Like, they didn't do nothing special.
But we're still supporting them. Have you stopped buying? Has anybody stopped buying any of these products or stopped using these services?
Who stopped supporting any dude that's cheating?
They're in power. But if it was
you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't
slander.
We'd still do the pod, bro.
Bro, you'd be Deshaun Watson. Right?
If I came in here next week and was like, yo, I've been cheating, y'all ain't kicking me off the pod.
You'd be Deshaun Johnson.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't cancel anybody for cheating.
My guy, it all comes
How's Kevin Hart
who
doing?
You are.
He's doing fine.
Yo, shout out to Kevin Hart. Shout out to Kevin Hart.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing fine.
All right.
Is
So
movie on Netflix.
So I see that this conversation is we should have recorded it last night. That's what we should have done. It's fine. Let's go to the next topic in my notes.
Yeah, because he didn't want to bring all that smoke. He didn't want to talk all that shit he was talking. He being powdery soft over there right now.
Kind of like y'all last week, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
talk about it. What was we soft about last week? Talk about it, bro.
Why do you hate women?
Yes. Thank you.
That's a joke, but it's I literally put it here, but it's.
Did you really put it?
I did. I wrote
yes.
it.
So
tell us why you hate women.
Yes. So tell us why exactly.
Or tell us what you
hate women.
Tell us what you hate about women.
I hate IG models.
Why do you hate IG
I hate
models?
the fake facade that they put out there for men. I hate that men get trapped in it.
Okay.
I hate that we keep following up on these. We like them. We follow them. We do all these things.
Whose fault is that, bro?
I'm not blaming anybody.
You just said you hate. You just said you hate
You
IG
asked
models.
me a question.
Yeah,
I'm answering
we
the
did.
question.
We did.
I'm not saying
Keep going,
whose
keep
fault
going.
it is.
B,
Keep going.
let him get his
he
points
had all
out.
the smoke.
You know
B,
what?
let him get his
I'll tell you
points
whose
out.
fault it is. It is the fault of the man who follows it. Plain and simple.
Okay.
If you're going to fall into the trap, it's your fault. All right? It's a game they play. And if you're naive enough to fall into it, that's on you.
Right.
A lot of men fall into it.
So why do you hate the IG model?
You don't think she's playing on the, I guess, the weakness of men?
Ain't that her job?
Is it? That's a woman's job to play on weaknesses of men? Is that what you're saying on Mike?
It's an IG's model job to play on the weakness of men. Yes, that's what models do. They sell sex.
Sell sex.
This is
On
what
IG?
modeling is. Yes, absolutely. That's what's happening
So
out
whose
there.
fault is that?
What do you mean? Whose fault is that? That's the currency. You know, if you getting money off of it, why wouldn't you do it? What's the problem? If dudes is gonna pay for it, listen.
We're not talking OF.
A fool and his money is soon parted.
All right. So then back to the original point of women marrying for money.
Okay.
And then you're saying they can profit from it. How am I wrong? What's your point?
We never said you were wrong. We were trying to understand what you had an issue with. Do you have an issue for the fact that women marry for money?
Listen, I don't care what women do or don't do. That's not my decision to make for them. I just don't choose that kind of a woman for me.
No, I can respect that. I can respect not wanting to choose a woman who wants to marry you for whatever type of profitable gain that they can receive.
Absolutely.
I can respect that.
Absolutely.
I can get that.
As a matter of fact, and you're probably the only person I can validate this, but you know what I'm talking about. Specifically, if you could think of one person and just vibe me for a second.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Vibe. One person that would be in that category on IG. You know what I'm talking about?
Name names. Fuck it.
No, we're not.
What are we doing?
But you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Well, I don't. So
So-
somebody want to tell me?
All right, I know where we're at with it.
But what I'm saying is,
I'll send you the matter of fact. Where's my phone is over there.
Oh my God.
they didn't want to fall susceptible to that at all.
Yeah.
And it was, trust me, every other man more than likely would have.
Wait, so do you have? Because this is literally in the notes here. So in particular, do you have an issue with thirst trapping?
I mean, look, I don't like, it's not about the particulars of thirst trapping. It's the fact that there is thirst trapping, and then the same women who will thirst trap are the same ones that say men are dogs. It's the hypocrisy behind it.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying is like, when does this stop spinning? It's basically a definition of insanity. Because you're just seeing people who are going to always be hurt, always be doing such and such, because they're not looking for anything but checkbooks at this point. They're looking for the next greatest thing who can just support their lifestyle.
Right.
There's no substance behind what they're looking for through DMs. Like it's impossible.
Well, there's a like B said, there's a currency to it, right? Like if you understand,
Transactional.
exactly. If you understand that thirst trapping on IG benefits whoever's doing the thirst trapping because they can receive financial gain from it, and at that point it's transactional, as you just said, as I said last week. And at that point, it's a business, and it's not an actual real life relationship thing. Whatever the person who's coming away from their money with, whatever they're thinking, that's on them. That's not on the model or the person that's doing the thirst trapping or posting the material online.
No, but
it's on that person. If you're the type of dude who will see a woman, drop pics or whatever, and all of a sudden now you're sending all kinds of money and you're paying for things or whatever, that is on you. That woman or man or whoever it is has no obligation to say, hey, I'm only doing this for financial gain. And I mean, they don't have to say. They can leave you to believe whatever you want, because if it's causing for you to come off of your money even more, that's on you.
See, this is a question I would want to ask Meg, but I'll just keep it general here. It's like, do you think the common woman, not the IG models, not that, the common woman who doesn't trust men, who probably has a right to say men are dogs kind of thing, should it be mad at the men or should it be mad at the women who are trapping the men similar to this?
Man, I'll answer this and then I'll toss it to B, right?
Yeah.
For any person who has any type of disdain or issue with a group of people, that's a them issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a woman and you hate all men, or you hate most men, or you hate some men that are all that do the same thing, that's a you issue. That's not that group of men's fault, right? But I will say this: that wherever you decide to put blame, you need to heal. You need to heal. HEAL, heal. Not HEEL, sit down, but HEAL, heal.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, if you're walking around with all this bitterness in your heart, you're no good to anybody.
Facts.
You're just not any good to anybody. So, like, if you're one of those people that's, niggas ain't and all that stuff, and all men are dogs or whatever, at that point, you probably do need to, and I'm not telling women what to do, but I'm giving my opinion. You probably do need to step away. Maybe take a trip to
Sounds a lot like where we're gonna go, where we don't want to go.
Take a trip to the Caucasus Mountains, wherever you need to go. To regroup. Figure out who you are and where your happy place is. Stay away from online. I mean, you don't have to do any of this stuff, but your algorithms are going to only show you the stuff that you are interested in or that you're focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're focused on women that are undressing on IG, that's what your algorithm is going to show you.
But you and I had made a point last night. We were talking about like women in general who look and will pass up on all the qualities of a man. Mm-hmm. The distinction between the two. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like the unfair advantage in some aspects is that, because actually I spoke to a friend of mine a few months back in reference to something like this. She's an older one. She's like 45, 46. And she was talking about like her dating scene and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I was explaining to her at the same time, I was like, okay, you still have men who are trying to holler at you right now. You know what I'm saying? You're 45. You're not getting any younger. And you're like, what are you looking for? You know what I'm saying? And we're talking about value. I was like, because you have, you're 45, your kids are grown, one's 17, one's 13, whatever. What is it you're looking for? Because everything you're saying you don't want to do, you're looking for X, Y, Z, but you don't even understand what you're looking for because she has somebody in her life right now as a friend, like a genuine platonic friend, who is doing everything she's asking for, but she's quote unquote not attracted to him.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And my question to her was, so what are you trying to be attracted to? Because you're saying you're looking for these things. He's doing these things for you. But you're saying no. You're not. You have to be attracted to him first. And my answer to her was like, well, then you're not looking for those things. You're looking for what he looks like first, and then hoping he has the qualities that this guy's meeting.
I mean, can't she just not be attracted to the dude? Like,
she can, but again, it's like at the same point that you're telling me that this is not somebody who really has, I won't say much time left, not like that, but I mean, I told her.
He's putting in the cemetery.
You 45, bitch, you almost dead. What is you looking for?
What is, with respect to her, with respect to, all women, it's like, what kind of firsts are you going to offer somebody later in your years? You know what I'm saying? That a younger person could potentially do in some aspects. If you're a young single woman in your 20s or whatnot, and you have 0 kids, you can offer a man more potentially in that aspect as far as offspring. But as far as like and again, looks fade over time as well. Mm-hmm. We understand that. Men are visually led. We can understand that. So if I'm trying to compare the two, and you're telling me you're not doing this at 45 and all these things you don't want to do, meanwhile I've got the younger people over here that are willing to do all those things. My argument's not with you anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to go to where the water is flowing. You know what I mean? And it's like someone I think believe in as they get older, they tend to self-isolate themselves without understanding that they're unintentionally doing it.
Okay. I'll say this. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself in a spot where you can guard your heart. All right? A lot of people don't know what they want. A lot of people won't know what they want until they actually have it. and then they might even fumble it at that time.
Yep.
Right. So in the example that you just gave of this person who may have somebody doing all the things that are benchmarks for what she's looking for in a relationship, and she's like, I'm not attracted. She's just, I mean, like B said, she may just very well just not be attracted to this person, and that's okay for her. But when she does find somebody that she's attracted to, as long as she can understand and identify that person is capable of doing the same things that this current person is doing, and she's happy with that, then that's fine. If they're not doing the same things and she still is attracted to that person, that's fine too. I guess the other part, I guess the end game, or what I'm trying to say here, is that if as long as you know what it is that you want, you don't technically have to settle. You can, if you're one of those people who actively goes out seeking what you're looking for in people, that's what you're going to do. You're going to actively go out and seek what you're looking for in people. Then there are those people who are like, I don't want to actively, I don't have the energy to go out and seek people. I want the universe to either bring it to me, or what's for me I'm going to have, or whatever. That's okay too. Like there are different types of people out there. But I agree with you when you're saying that, like, some people will miss the opportunity that they're looking for because they're looking for it to be packaged a certain way. I can agree with you on that, right? All gifts don't come in the same type of packaging though. And
no, I agree on that.
You kind of have to be a little bit open, You do. I'm one of those people that's a guard your heart type of person. I've said that, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You can clown me all you want.
I didn't even say anything.
No. I was just looking over here because I hadn't looked at you in a minute. All right, relax.
I'm here to support you, dog. Guard that shit. You know what I'm saying? Guard it.
You can guard your heart, but at the same time, it's okay to not actively be looking for a partner or somebody to that you're going to spend all your time with. It's okay for that. It's okay. Now if you're one of these women on social media who's constantly complaining about ain't no good dudes and dudes don't do this, and if you're that person, then everything you just said applies, and I'm assuming that's who you're talking about right now.
Cultural.
You say cultural?
Do you want to make it cultural?
Let's get cultural, bro. Let's get it.
We talked about it.
Let's get it.
Do it. You sure you want to do it?
Let's get it. Come on.
All right, go ahead then. Because
you asked a question. You asked a question.
I know. Listen.
No, I'll wrap this part of the conversation up with saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be like if you're good people deserve to be with good people. Mm-hmm. I'll say that, right? And before you can do that, I think that anybody, as it relates or pertains to relationships, you need to be healed. You need to be healed. You need to be whole. If you're not healed and you're not whole, you jump into a relationship and you run the risk of bringing old baggage to a new relationship, old nonsense to a good thing, and you can taint it, you can sour it, you can poison it. You shouldn't do that. That's my take on that. Do you have anything before we start getting into why SOH black women?
I'm going to just say that I'm so happy we're getting into that topic. First of all, I'm glad we're about to unpack that.
This is why
shit.
It brought me back for scapegoats. I see it,
I'll just say you can't tell a woman to go find the perfect dude and then be upset when women are trying to find perfect men. We can't have it both ways. So if she says...
Say it again?
I said you can't be upset and tell a woman to go find the perfect man and then be upset when she's out looking for perfect men.
Well, who's saying that?
Like, if you're saying, you're not attracted to this dude, but you should be with him anyway, you know what I'm saying?
No. All right, so it was just more or less a context kind of conversation because, again, it's like you're shutting yourself off from potentially good men, but you're focusing on the look first. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, again, like Jules just said, you have to open yourself up to a different net.
So here's the thing, because I think attraction means different things for women than it does for men. I don't necessarily think that attraction boils down to only looks for women.
No, it doesn't.
If she says she's not attracted to him, there could be a multitude of reasons why. It might not have anything to do with how he looks.
No, this one is, for a fact, this one is strictly just based on the physical aspect of it because all the other needs be met.
Then if
I
that's
don't want
not-
to use that as the marker for
if
it.
that's not what she wants, then that's not what she wants.
Because I mean, attraction, like you said, it's ambiguous.
You know what I'm
it can
saying?
mean
Like-
one thing for one, it can mean another thing for another.
Sure.
You know, some people, I don't know, like red. Some people like green. It doesn't make a
I
difference.
mean,
Bottom line
listen,
is-
people gonna play the game for as long as they feel they can play the game. As long as they feel they have options, right? Like even if she's just having this dude hang on the side just because she thinks she can scoop him later, right? I don't know if that's the case or not, but let's just pretend that it is. As long as she feels she has options, she might just want to play the game.
and that's the
Because
thing.
that's what people do.
Let's go. Let's go.
She's allowing this guy to do these things for her,
Of course.
and that's my point.
And he's doing it.
He's doing it, but it's like she's playing the game.
Right, but
It's
so
almost
is
like
he.
He's not, because he's genuinely interested in her. He wants to be with her.
How old is he? Is he a grown-ass man?
He's a grown-ass man.
So as a grown-ass man, if you know you're trying to make grown-ass moves on a grown-ass woman and it's not being reciprocated and your dumb ass is still there hanging around, whose fault is that, bro?
He is an older man, right? So again, we're talking almost 45 through 55 here, right?
Okay.
And it's one of those situations like this dude understands that he's looking for somebody to settle down with. Mm-hmm. All right. Now the efforts he's putting into her, he's known her for about 20 years.
Right.
So it's not just somebody recent. This is somebody who's been in here.
So he been doing this for a long-ass time.
not
getting curved.
Not recently, as far as what
Friend zoned.
Friend zoned forever.
Well, no, I mean he's part of the kids'
BFFs.
lives, things like that. Yeah, BFFs.
You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying
Like,
is, there's got to be levels of how this is going on where it's okay and they're not. Because, again, if a man strings a woman along for the same exact reasons, he's viewed as being a certain type of way. Like, it's not allowed. And there's the hypocrisy behind it. Because if let her be the dude or the woman that's trying to holler at this dude doing all these things for her, or for him, rather, and he's like, nah, but you can continue to do them. And he's going to talk to somebody else.
and dudes string women along every day, B.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's names for that.
Nah, but that ties into the last thing we're going to talk about.
And so
for
hating
the
black
evening.
women?
No, we're not talking, because that was a joke, by the way.
Oh.
That was a joke.
Thank you.
For any and everybody listening,
Let's talk
watching.
about why B hates black women.
Nope. Nobody on this platform hates black women.
Except SL.
Follow me at B Davis Project. See where my algorithms are at.
I will say this. That brings us, what we were just saying kind of brings us back into when you start to talk about relationships, right? Because
Yeah.
these people aren't, these two people that you're talking about aren't in a relationship, right?
Correct.
But he's willfully going out of his way to do things for this woman.
Wait, can I ask one question before you go into that?
Okay.
Do you believe there's an expiration date on, how to put it?
On what?
On your, no, just more or less like
What are we saying here?
an expiration date on your wants, if that makes sense.
I need you to.
So, like, we'll just go back to the original example. Like, she wants a certain type of man to look a certain type of way with all these qualifications. Do you think there's an allowance of, hey, look, you're an older person right now, so your expiration date is changing on.
Are we Kevin Samuelsing this conversation?
No, man, well,
I feel like we're going in.
It
I
does
feel like
sound
we're
like
going in that direction.
It does sound
He's trying.
But no, I'm asking.
He's trying.
No, I want to see, like, if you genuinely believe, like, there's a certain level or a certain time where you just kind of have to open up a little different door.
Yeah, when you don't think you can get it anymore. I mean, that's where most people. This is the stereotype of men are out here in the streets doing what they do until they're 45 and bald and got erectile dysfunction and they want to settle down, right? Chicks want to run the streets until they got 3 baby dads and then they want to be a wife. You know what I'm saying? These are stereotypes, but there's a little bit of truth to some of those things. Because if you can get away with it, like I said last week, when it comes to smashing, there is a different set of rules that people live by. You know what I'm saying? So if I feel I can go out here and be smashing 3 chicks, even though I don't necessarily want to do that type of lifestyle, but I got the opportunity to, well,
never.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how a lot of people feel. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to character at a certain point or whatever. You know what I mean? But for most people, if they have the opportunity to, they're going to try to take advantage of the opportunity. And even if they don't, they still going to try to reminisce on their youthful days when they thought they did.
So I will
And still
say,
try to take advantage of it.
So I will say this: for people who are out here taking full advantage of every opportunity and everything, just kind of on a whim because they can, like, those are, for me, that's a red flag. Those are people that I'm steering clear of, I'm staying away from, because you're not doing anything with intention.
And herpes is crazy.
Herpes is crazy. You're not doing anything with intention. If I don't need people in my life who aren't intentionally there.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And this is not me getting on a high horse or anything, and I'm not trying to pander to anybody.
Nah, get on that horse,
bro.
But
So you and I have had this conversation, and you too, babe. You and I have had these conversations that you get to a certain point where it's like, I'm no longer about the play.
Right.
You know, I've had my youthful times.
Yeah.
I've had, like you said, I've had my set of first, right? I'm not interested in, being out here and trying to have a rotation or an active Rolodex, or be out here and, trying to appeal to a younger group of people. Like, that's for me personally, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to surround myself with people who are intentional and trying to build something, because that's where I'm at in my life.
This is why I stay in the house.
And no, for real. And that's really what it comes down to. If you're not that person, you can very well live your life however you choose to. But I also have the option and the choice to say, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to associate with you.
Yeah.
Your energy brings me down.
Yep.
Your energy takes me to a place that I no longer want to be in.
Yeah.
I no longer want to be around. But the reality of it is, human nature is, people are going to take advantage of what they have the opportunity to take advantage of. Mm-hmm. It's why theft happens.
Yeah.
It's why cheating happens.
Yeah.
It's why, people will take full advantage of loopholes and tax laws and everything else, because you can.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is not a high horse conversation as much as it is just a human nature conversation. I'm trying to keep myself in a spot and in a place where I can remain focused on my goal, and I don't have to worry about the white noise that is the outside distractions of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not on that wavelength of, trying to find the what do you call it? The IG model beauty queen or anything like that. If I'm being completely honest, I'm at the point where I'm just kind of desensitized right now. That's me personally.
Yeah. I'm
not interested. That's not where I'm at. But I do talk about relationships a lot because of my experiences.
Right.
That's where this is where I get my insight and my input.
Yeah.
I might add an additional outside factor here or whatever, but for the most part, I'm just talking about stuff that I live, just like you talk about the stuff that you live, SO, and B, just like you talk about the stuff that you live.
Yeah.
Which is why you're always talking about guns and butter. You know what I mean? Like,
all the time, bro. You know what I mean? Get clapped up around here.
But no, I wanted to talk about this last part. I don't know if I really tightened up what you were saying, SO, but
that's all good.
We got to get to sacrifice versus compromise in relationship. That was a bone of contention between.
I didn't even know that was on this list.
Between the two of you last night, that was a bone of contention,
Hold
right?
on, let me go ahead.
So
we both got to sip on that.
Yeah,
shit.
both of y'all picked up the glasses. But let's talk about it real quick, and let's get into.
Pass me the juice.
Yeah.
Let's
refill
get
that
into
thing, bro. Refill that thing.
Let's get into your definition of sacrifice versus compromise, and then I'm going to toss it back over here to you, Big.
Yeah.
Sacrifice versus compromise.
You can start with me this one.
Start with me.
You're good.
So the conversation we were having last night, right? Talking about sacrificing in relationships, and I believe you felt like most relationships were built on a lot of sacrifice, or contained at least a lot of sacrifice. Is that fair? A way to characterize what we spoke of?
I won't say relationships, I'll say marriages.
Okay. See, I would say relationships as well. So, but that's just me. I haven't been married, so I can only go based off of the relationships that I have. Obviously, you've been married, right? So the way you feel about marriage versus relationship might be different from the way I feel about relationships.
Right, and I'll expand on that, but go ahead.
Yeah. So my thing about sacrifice, right? Like, I think there's no problem with compromise. I think anybody should, both partners should be able to compromise in a relationship. And I feel like compromise is when, if you're ambivalent to a situation, like you don't have to do a certain thing and your partner wants to do something, you say, okay, well, we can do that because you want to. Or, you find a middle ground. Sacrifice to me is when you feel as if you didn't want to do something and now you are losing out, or you are missing something, or you are in other ways harmed by not doing a thing because your significant other wants you to, or doing a thing because your significant other wants you to. My thing about sacrifice in that light is that sacrifice to me builds resentment. I think sacrifice is what causes people to start keeping score. When you're compromising with somebody, it's not a big deal. You don't think about it afterwards. You do what y'all do, and it is what it is. You did a thing, right? Y'all made that's called making decisions together for me. You know what I'm saying? When it's sacrifice, you're thinking about it later. You're thinking about the thing you didn't get to do, or the thing that you were made, or you felt you were forced to do, right? That's the part of relationships I want no part of. I don't want to feel like I have to sacrifice something. If I got to sacrifice things to be with somebody, then either I need to reevaluate my ways and what I'm doing and decide if I'm justified in wanting to do them. And if I feel like I'm justified and I'm valid, then I got to make the move. I got to make a move. Or if I'm doing some fuck shit, then I got to say, wait a second, B, you fucking up right here. This really isn't a sacrifice. You're messing up and you need to do a different thing. But that's how I feel about sacrifice versus compromise.
Okay. So that is spoken as you said, somebody who has been in relationships but not been in a marriage. Okay. Marriage is automatically going to have a sacrifice aspect to it. All right. Compromise. Why?
Why does it? Why in the vein that I just defined sacrifice? Do you first of all, the definition that I just gave to sacrifice? Do you disagree or agree with that?
I believe you can't have one without the other. But I'll say this:
you can't have sacrifice without compromise. You can't have compromise.
You can't have compromise without sacrifice.
Okay.
The example I'll give you is have a child.
Okay.
Somebody is sacrificing their hopes and dreams and/or time to raise that child. You can't look at it any other way.
I can look at it another way because you made a decision to have a child, bro.
I understand.
So when you make the decision to have a child, then you also have to make the decision that these are things that I can no longer do anymore.
Okay, but that decision does put a lot of sacrifice of what you currently are in state. And I think you're using sacrifice more or less of like your understanding of like you said, because you kind of touched on it's like, you know, if it hurt and harm. And I'm not talking hurt or harm here. I'm saying there's sacrifices to be made to raise that child. There's sacrifice to be made career-wise, financially. There's a lot of sacrifice of things that you can do if you're not married to somebody.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jay.
Let me interject here. I think that I'm kind of leaning towards what B is saying here, SO, only in the fact that when you're starting to talk about starting a family in a marriage, that is a decision that two people make. I understand that. Right? And when you make decisions, you make decisions and you understand, if you understand what the consequences of those decisions are, you're not sacrificing, you're choosing that. You're choosing that. So you're choosing to say that, okay, I'm having a child, right? No, listen, just hear me out. Right. You're choosing to say, I'm having a child. That means that I'm going to be around and available to my wife or my girlfriend or whoever that I had that child with and that child 24/7. If that child is in any type of emergent need, I am there.
Okay. So I guess my man, Sky Daddy, compromised.
Who the hell is Sky Daddy?
Yeah, what the fuck? Who is Sky Daddy,
this
bro?
nigga?
Big G compromised to sacrifice his son, huh? All of them knew what was going to happen.
Wait, are you talking
we're
about
referencing the Bible?
Jesus?
No,
he's referencing the Bible.
Is that what we're doing? Did you just call him Sky Daddy?
Jesus, excuse me. Because here's the thing, right? They both knew the ending.
I'm trying to keep it together.
They both knew what was going to happen at the end.
Right.
That's not a compromise. They knew they had to sacrifice everything they were going through because of the consequence of what was going to happen at the end anyway. And that's the same principle as what I'm trying to say here is you can know, yes, you're going to raise a family, but there's going to be sacrifices you're going to make to raise that family. Even if you know the end, it's not a consequence. It's not something that it's like, again, time, finances. How are we going to do this? You're going to plan for it, but it's still a sacrifice you guys are planning for.
Did you choose that sacrifice? Yes or no?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it's
that's why it's a compromise, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not a compromise because a compromise is
Hey, do you want to have a baby? Yeah, I want to have a baby. Do you want to have a baby? Yeah. Well, this is going to take some money to do that, right? You might have to work some extra hours. You might have to work some less hours. You might have to cook dinner more. You might have to wake up with the baby.
So
those are compromises, bro.
Nobody at this table has ever heard any man or woman saying, I have sacrificed so much to raise kids.
I'm not saying they haven't used that word.
Okay.
This is the reason why I defined how I feel about them in the beginning of this.
I think
this is why I said that
to have one, but
this is
not.
This is why I say I feel like sometimes people say sacrifice, but really what they're doing is they are living out the fruition of their choices. You know what I'm saying? That's a completely different thing than I'm forced to do something I don't want to do. And that's where I think a lot of people actually end up. When you decide you want to have kids with somebody, you're deciding you want to have kids. You've now made a choice to take on extra responsibilities. If you don't want to take on those extra responsibilities, if you feel this is going to hold me back in my job, this is going to cause me to not be able to make as much money, this is going to interfere with what I want to do on the weekend, you should not be having children. If those things are more important to you, that you feel harm by not being able to do them and that you are making a sacrifice, then you shouldn't make the choice. But because you make a bad choice doesn't mean that you aren't compromising. You didn't sacrifice, you made a bad choice.
Children is part of the unspoken sacrifice.
Why is that part of an unspoken sacrifice?
Because you are giving stuff up to raise a family.
You were making
Somebody
a compromise.
is.
You're making a compromise to do that.
Yeah, you're compromising in the initial, but when you're doing it, you don't realize it until after the fact. A lot of times, you can't pick up where you left off till after 18, 20 years, if you even want to do it at that point. So you've lost all that time to do things you wanted to do.
My thing is, at the beginning, it was a compromise. When you guys decided to have children, that was a compromise. At whatever point you start to say like, hey, I really miss going out to the club, or I really miss being able to go golfing with my buddies for 5 hours on a weekend, or that's you at that point changing, saying, hey, I made a compromise to now I feel like I'm losing.
Right.
You made, and that's where B's saying like you made a bad choice. You should not have kids if you're going to always look back and say, hey, I could have made $100 million a year, but I had a kid, so now I only make $50,000 a year, and I sacrificed another $50,000 a year. That's not a sacrifice. That was you making a poor decision. I do agree. I agree with B on that. But all right, so and I know I can't even do the whole flip. Let me join your side. I can't do that right now. I know that's what I usually do. I know that's what I usually do. But I can't do that right now. And I will say this though. I will say this that also. The reality of what you're saying, SO, is what I hope that people who are not married, that they can understand that this stuff still does happen in marriages.
Sure.
I want people to understand that this happens in marriages. The divorce rate isn't 50% or higher, or whatever it is right now, because people are like, we just made bad choices. The divorce rate is because people look back and say, this was horrible. I wasn't ready for this. I no longer want this. This is not a new age thing.
And people grow, right? People grow and change within that marriage, right? So the person that you are that made that decision might not be the person who you are now, right? Like the things you value today might not be the same things you valued years ago. That doesn't necessarily, and this is why to me I'm saying that doesn't necessarily mean you're sacrificing. It means you're living out the fruition of what that old you chose to do. Correct. And now you're doing the things that you have to do.
And that compromise can be a lot of indirect sacrifices. So for one, let's say, not to say you're always going out, but a lot of friendships and family and things of that nature could be indirectly affected based on that compromise, which becomes a sacrifice. Okay, because me and this guy here, how many times did we hang out when we were married?
Not a lot.
Okay.
Wait. Before you start roping me in.
No. What I'm saying is, it was more or less.
You see what's happening.
See what he's doing.
No. Come on. Let's go. Let's get it.
It was more or less a group event, right?
Yeah. Yes.
We sacrificed what we were, who we were to each other, the friendship we had to raise a family. That was not something I compromised with my wife then. To say, hey, I'm going to give up my friendships so I can raise a family, so I can do this. That's not something you compromise. It's an indirect sacrifice. There's a lot of things that people have lost that are intangible.
Sure.
That are being sacrificed. And that's my point.
And
There's things we're talking about what you can tangibly talk about and do.
But
I get that.
So those are things that I agree with you on, right? If you never stated that, hey, I'm going to marry this woman, but because of that, I'm not going to hang out with my boys, then yes, that is a sacrifice because that's not something that you wanted in condition of the marriage.
But it's not. It's an indirect consequence. That's it. Like nobody's really planning those types of things. And there's a lot of things that you're never going to really plan in the beginning that you're thinking because the way marriage is viewed a lot of times is cookie cutter. You know what I mean? It's great. You do this.
Listen, I'm going to tell y'all niggas this right now.
This is the alcohol coming out now.
I'm going to tell y'all this right now. If I get married at some point, first of all, y'all aren't going to know.
No, I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure.
You're not going to know. You're just going to notice, damn, B ain't been on this pod for like 6 months. Where has this guy been? Y'all ain't going to see me for a while, bro.
I mean, how's your ring finger any lighter than you are?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going to keep it 100, bro. I'm just going to keep it 100. Like, when I make that jump, y'all might not see me for a while.
And we'll know.
You know what I'm saying? Because that I expect that now at some point I'm going to come back. You know what I'm saying? But I expect that, when I make that jump, I'm not going to be around.
It's either you're married or another case of COVID came through.
Well, hey, listen. I mean, look, that was only like a week and a half that I had to be on the back burner. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, did we get married?
We ain't heard from this nigga in 4 days. Where the fuck is he at?
My man went out here and eloped. Nah, I got you. So what B's saying, and we're ending this episode. But what B's saying is that basically, like, he's making a conscious decision.
Yeah.
At that point to say, none of this is more important than my marriage and my relationship with my wife.
That's exactly
what
I'm
he's saying.
Yes.
And so I can respect that because you know why? At the end of the day, that's not a sacrifice. That's a choice.
Right.
He's making that choice,
right.
And he's letting us know right now. However, I will say this for purposes of continuity here.
Yeah.
Just keep me in the loop. I can call Megan or whoever I need to call. Keep the podcast
Yeah,
going.
absolutely. But I would expect y'all to do the same shit. Yeah. Like I wouldn't feel any type of way if y'all had a situation pop up and it was like, yo, hey, listen, fellas, you know what I'm saying? I got to do my thing for a little bit. Cool. Do your thing, bro. Like ultimately that, if you pick another person to be in your life to that extent, that person is going to take much better care of you than I ever will. Right? So you got to make sure that shit is on the up and up. You got to make sure that shit is correct first and foremost before you handle any of the external situations. I like y'all niggas, but I guarantee you what? If I got a chick that actually wants to stick around with me for a minute, listen, I got to handle that.
The new sound guy.
You know what I mean? Y'all gonna run me right the fuck out of here.
Let's put the application out
like,
there.
where's my mics at? Yo, but hey, I mean, but that's just the reality, and we're grown men, right? Yeah. So as a grown man, like I would have to look at that decision and be like, I understand what you're doing, and I understand why, and you should.
But that's
we gonna always be able to get up at some point. You know what I mean?
That's key. You say that because we're grown men now.
Yeah.
With an understanding.
Sure.
20-year-old us is not thinking the same way we're thinking.
No, and this is where the growth part comes in.
But that's the problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because we have a lot of younger people not thinking this.
Well, this is why we spend you and I spend a lot of time talking with younger dudes about some of the choices that they're making, right? We just had this conversation off mic. Mm-hmm. We spend a lot of time talking with guys and just saying, like, listen, we're not telling you what to do. We're just trying to help open your eyes a little bit to some other things, some other questions you should be asking to really make sure that you are really sure of the decisions you're making right now.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. We're not going to get to everybody. Hopefully we can get more people watching and listening and that want to talk to us about just some of our viewpoints or whatever. But at the same time, I will say this. Everybody is entitled to make their own decision. Yeah. You have to live with that decision.
Yeah.
And that's why we have courts and attorneys and processes. All right, that's how we're ending it.
That's how we're ending it. That's how we're ending it. Glass back up.
No, that's how we're ending it. That is how we're ending it.
Put that glass back up. Come on, man. We got
B to end this episode. Is there anything that you feel like in your heart that you want to get out?
Nah, man.
Do not say anal.
What? Like, where did that even come from, bro? Like.
All right, cool. So, is there anything that you want to say?
Guy.
Don't say you hate black women. All right, cool.
Let's talk about your milk lockout.
Fill the glass up. Come on, let's go.
We'll talk about that off mic.
Hour 2.
Episode 58 of the From Earth podcast is coming to an end. Once again, we appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share with other people. We're really trying to grow. We're really trying to do this thing. Hit us up. Our social media handles are in the details of everything. For everybody that's listening to us on the podcast, whatever platform you're on, thank you guys. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share as well. This has been Julius from Earth, and I'm signing out. Peace.